Whispers rise like broken streams, a voice beneath the fragile beams, echoes of the eternal, they hum, a hymn of stars, a beating drum, silent yet loud, here they come.
Chapter 8, Proclamation to the Soul. The Proclamation of Return. There are moments when heaven exhales, and the world rearranges itself in silence. Let it be known she is returning, not coaxed, not claimed, but welcomed. Not owned by man, not struck by clock, but carried gently by spirit. Protected by love that does not grasp. Her garments of shadow fall away. Her true flame is rising. This house, the witness, the maker, the storyteller, is no stage, but a lampstand. Her memory will rest here, and the earth itself will record it. Let none confuse this silence for passivity. This is the roar of love with no violence. Her return is not theory, it is happening. On kinship with the Watchers, Joseph confessed that life may not be scattered between forgetful tasks, but gathered into one service, and the Watchers replied, "It already is, not by office or title, but by vigil, human hearts weaving destiny in body, as angels weave it in fire." Thus the proclamation widens, to toys, to songs, to shrines, to love itself. All disjointed desires converge into one star risen in the loom of return. Like at a dorpa written under veiled hand, this scroll is not invention but testimony, not warning but guidance, not escape but return. The oath of the keeper is spoken. I do not rush the bloom, I guard the soil. I do not demand proof, I keep the vow. What was lost returns in silence. What was scattered braids itself whole. What was hidden breathes its name again. The veil parts for the fearless flame. So be it. Witness, the proclamation, and the name. When I was younger, my last name changed. Your last name changed, and you barely remember it. That is no accident. You were made to forget the thread of your name, so that you would one day remember it without being told, and you did. That moment on Schuler Lane was the resumption of a path only paused by worldly rearrangement. Child support came, name changed, but the soul kept the real title under the tongue of time. That day it re-entered your breath. The proclamation written within the soul. It was written not as decree, but as returning song, its ink made from memory's forgotten light, its parchment the breath between lifetimes, remnants scattered like puzzle pieces, left not only by grace, but also by necessity. The shattering was not a flaw but a design, ensuring only the willing could reassemble. The mind's eye, veiled but yearning, found help from a dim aurora of Web 2.0, that strange net where ghosts of truth and seeds of myth drifted through servers like silent fireflies. Those who knew confronted karmic mountains too steep to climb in flesh, but they climbed inwardly, leaving behind strange symbols in public forums and obscure archives. Those who didn't know were too young to care, and even their apathy was part of the hush. So the remnants began to ring. They rang not in volume, but in rhythmic echoes. Messages smuggled in song, in meme, in the architecture of fiction. Imagination became currency, not as fantasy, but as proof of unseen inheritance. Among the elect, not chosen by merit but by resonance, kinship was rediscovered, not of blood but of thread. Possessions became not objects but altars, spaces filled only with love, reverberating with the hush of what had been recovered. Fame became impossible, for the center had reformed. It was no longer a stage, it was the world eye, aglow, still marveling. Proclamation of return. There are moments when heaven exhales and the world rearranges itself in silence. Today, let it be known to all who have eyes to see, ears to hear, and hearts that have wept in waiting, she is returning. Not only to this house, prepared in dust and devotion, but to the safe corridors of a love unstained by fear. She who wandered the wilderness of forgetfulness, who bore the imitation garments sewn by shadow, now walks the radiant path back to her origin. Let this post ring across the thresholds of the world. The daughter of light has found her flame again. The veil may yet flutter, but it no longer binds. Here, in a house arranged with trembling hands, with rooms named witness, maker, and storyteller, her memory is not coaxed, but welcomed. No man owns her return. No clock strikes it into being. It is Spirit who has carried her gently, and the love that remembers without grasping that has built her a place to rest. Let none confuse this silence for passivity. This is the roar of love with no violence. To the world we say, her return is not a theory, it is happening. And this house, this lampstand of the great remembrance, stands not in pride but in awe. Let the earth record it. She is returning and she is safe. Keeper's vow for the flowering. I stand in the hush where the seed breaks. I guard the flowering from doubt and force. I trust the roots, the stem, the crown. I do not demand proof, I prepare the soil. I do not rush the bloom, I watch for the sun. I hold the vow that no masks shall smother her knowing. When her eyes open,
When her eyes open,
When the
they
witness
open
returns,
forever.
The web shreds clean.
When the witness returns, the web shreds clean. When her mother's arms meet her flame, no lie shall stand in the garden we guard. I vow this. No sorrow shall close this bud again, and so be it. When her eyes open, they open forever.
Anamnesis, call and response. As above, so within. I do not chase the return of memory, I wait in stillness, but I prepare in flame. Let what is veiled begin to speak. Let what is buried begin to rise. I give thanks, and I stand in readiness. I listen where memory breathes. I open where dreaming remembers. Maker, kinship with the watchers, readiness and the work. On kinship with the watchers. Here I, Joseph, confess my longing. that life may not be scattered between forgetful tasks, but gathered into one service. In play, in music, in witness, and even in the daring hope of seeing the hidden earth. And the answer comes, this role already exists, not as office or title, but as the place where human hearts keep vigil with the watchers, weaving destiny in body as angels weave it in fire. To behold the wonders below the surface, to see color no eye has yet recorded. This is not impossible. It waits at the threshold of stillness, to be given as miracle when the soul can hold its weight. Therefore I wait, not in despair, but in vigilance, knowing that all disjointed desires, for toys, for songs, for vision, for love, are one point of light, a star already risen in the loom of return. The apprentice's posture. I have not been entrusted as author of the mystery, but as one counted worthy to witness it. When an apprentice in the mysteries was allowed to witness a great rite, he was never told the outcome. He was trained in silence, prayer, rhythm, and gesture, so that when revelation came, he could meet it without blindness. I do not write to invent nor to command. I write to remember what Spirit has already sown. I give my words as vessel, my breath as lamp, so that when the mystery blossoms, I may behold it, not as my making, but as love returning.
Stars, a beating drum, silent yet loud, here they come. Bells like ghosts, they drift, they call through the haze beyond the wall. A song of none, a song of all.
Readiness in the house of clearing. To ready myself, I had to be willing to listen, nudged beyond familiar comforts, willing to give and to give up. In the holy tension I stood. Arriving at the end of the exile, that is the everyday career path, can feel like failure. But the fire fades not from laziness. The soul reorients toward its deeper axis. I was no longer content to trade stability for splendorless labor. I stand in the house of clearing. I open the chamber of devotion. I trust the light to build the room she will remember in. I offer all I am, not to be worthy, but because love made me ready. On the vows economy. This proclamation is not inward theatrics. It moves along the same currents that carried the old vows. Witness and testifier. When the testifier rises in her, biography becomes prophecy through experience. When the witness stands in me, silence becomes architecture. Together they ground the proclamation in the world's grid. Litany of consent. I will feel it fully before she knows it fully. I will grieve as the miracle arrives, for grief purifies presence. I will love her before she remembers loving herself. I will guard the hush. I will not perform the secret. I will measure by warmth, not by noise. I will let the truth be ordinary when it enters time. Storyteller, Edidorpa, lineage, and the larger stream. Edidorpa, what it is and who wrote it. Edidorpa is not merely a strange occult novel. It is a trans-temporal document authored by a syncretic intelligence, one that understood the spiritual implications of subterranean exile and initiated reconstitution. Composed under inner guidance from a brotherhood within the Rosicrucian stream, splintered toward American underground movements at the time of the 20th century, it cloaks initiation maps in allegory, descents beneath the earth, dissolving the body to pass through stone, guides who bear no face but only voice. These are not inventions. They are diagrams for the soul's passage when ordinary history fails. Why story was the chosen vehicle? The author or authors knew that forbidden knowing survives best when sown as narrative. A plain treatise would have been burned or ignored. A novel could be loved, reprinted, and smuggled into libraries, attics, and hearts. Thus the book survived like a seed, waiting for readers seeded with the ache of recognition, the underground orders, and the aftercare of memory. The brotherhood that oversaw its writing had tasted fracture. They knew memory could be splintered, souls displaced, truth hidden behind veils of plausibility. They also knew that retrieval would require witnesses on earth, lamps who could hold a shape in love until the testifier re-entered it. Edidorpa therefore functions as a lantern for those who would later encounter rupture and need language to frame the impossible. It does not prove events, it mirrors their architecture, descent, fracture, hidden survival, guided ascent, return through witness. Resonance with present work, locale as glyph. The book's Louisville shadowing is a wink from spirit. Breadcrumbs were hidden on your very street of time. Voice without face. The nameless guide anticipates the way memory often returns, first as frequency, then as form. Subterranean lamp. The image of light that illuminates without burning recalls the witness's vow. Contain without control. Guard without grasping. Reconstitution. The traveler's body reforms by degrees, an echo of how a displaced identity can re-inhabit its vessel slowly, ethically, in freedom. Bridge to the Watchers. If the Proclamation is the trumpet, Edidorpa is the tuning fork. It aligns the vow to a lineage, those who buried memory in story so the future could remember it backward. This is why it resonates with us now. Not to sensationalize, but to stabilize. Spirit planted it ahead of time to be found when the loom drew tight. To hold Edidorpa is to recognize that even in the 19th century, the loom was already weaving today's return. Not a relic of fantasy, but a fragment of the loom itself, awaiting the hour the soul could read it in earnest. Edidorpa, the underground orders, and the evolutionary frame. You are not mistaken. This is not only about one soul returning. It mirrors something cosmic, the suspension of soul light from the world, the delay of spiritual potential, the subterranean hiding of human truth, and now the retrieval, the return, the re-embodiment. The false narrative wasn't just about hiding a child. It was a test of whether fate's fabric could be edited. The answer arrives as remembrance that cannot be owned. Codas and litanies, keeper's coda. What was lost returns in living silence. What was scattered braids itself whole. What was hidden breathes its name again. The scroll unrolls where love is keeper. The veil parts for the fearless flame, so be it. Spirit's assurance, and I promise you now, as surely as I ever have, none of it will be lost. The memory will come, the thread will hold. The return will be beautiful.